Council condemned unequivocal the killing of 17 military officers and expresses its condolences to the Commander-in-Chief, the military hierarchy, and especially to the families of the bereaved officers. It called on the federal government to set up a high-powered commission of inquiry to unearth what transpired to avoid such occurrences in the future. Council called on the federal government to properly define the missions of the troops deployed to the region. Involvement in community, boundary, business, or family disputes should not be part of the military's operational mission. The council also appealed to the military to allow the villagers to return home and resume their normal lives. Council calls on the federal government to expedite work on the East-West Road. It further commended the president for commencing the construction of the coastal road from Lagos to Calabar and appealed that for speedy completion, work should also commence from the Calabar end. Council commended the federal government for the establishment of the National Agriculture Fund and looks forward to working with the agency to improve the economic development of the region, particularly in the areas of agro-entrepreneurship and food sufficiency. Please do follow me. I'm going somewhere. The meeting commended by the state government. Okay, that's by the way. The council welcomed the ongoing efforts of the states to promote financial literacy and skills acquisition among women and youths in order to promote the growth of small and medium enterprises in the region, and directed that the training and ongoing efforts should be sustained throughout the region. The council noted the persistent poor state of electricity in the region despite huge investment in the power sector by successive governments of the region. It therefore called on the power companies operating in the region to work more closely with the state governments to ensure the operationalization of the new Electricity Act of 2023. It also called on the federal government to embark on the comprehensive review of the power sector, particularly with reference to transmission. Okay, so basically they talked about agriculture, or is it agro-entrepreneurship? They talked about the East-West Road. They talked about economic interconnectivity. They talked about what have I missed? You listen to me read. What did I miss? They talked about, I mentioned power, right? I mentioned the East-West Road. I think they also talked about security. Now, let's start with security, please. The governors are the chief security officers of the state. If they tackle, or if they can, to the best of their abilities, tackle things like illegal bunkering, banditry, or I don't want to say banditry now, because one would think I'm likening it to what is happening in the northern part of the country. But we're talking about kidnapping here, cultism there, unknown gunmen at other places. If they are able to tackle all of these things, and some people say some of these things are politically motivated. If we can reduce these things to the barest minimum, I do not think that the military will be needed in the South-South region. So, number one, from my observation, I do feel like we have failed in our responsibility as states to protect the lives and properties of our citizens. And that is why the military has come into the South-South region to play a role. Whether it's a good role or a bad role, that is not the focus on the show right now. Talking about the East-West Road, we get a lot of money, right? We get, what's it called now? We get the federal allocation. We get, we're supposed to get, I believe, a 13% derivation or derivative fund. We get taxes. That's the, what do you call it now? There's a name now. VAT tax, the VAT, it comes to the states as well, and usually Rivers and Delta and Edo would get large portion of the VAT. We get some of these revenues. We take royalties from oil companies. We take, internally generated revenue as well. I don't know why it is difficult for us to build as a region our section of the East-West Road. The East-West Road is being built, or would I say, has been under construction since, who knows, even before they gave birth to me. And yes, there has been some improvement. If you would travel the routes, Port Harcourt to Yenagoa in the early 2000s, you would remember how terrible that road used to be. And Obasanjo was able to get us, some good quality. But even at that road is still yet, or that route, the stretch on the east-west road is still yet to be completed. And the state governments are waiting on the federal government. When, if that road can be completed today, the economic value it will bring to the states can be said to be very enormous. And then I'm thinking, some people will argue state governments should not be working because we have the jurisdictions, we have the exclusive list, we have the concurrent list, right? And we have I'm trying to remember the last one, and you just skip my head. But the point is, we have all of this list, right? And so someone say, oh no, it's not your jurisdiction. The state government should not work on federal roads. But I can give you instances. Amechi did. I could give you instances. Wike did. I mean, the Rumokoro flyover is what? On the East-West Road. I mean, Abad Road is what? It's federal road. We can go on and on, right? But that's not the argument. I mean, the Elime Bridge, where is it? On the East-West. I mean, the Obirikwe flyover close to me, where is it? It's on the East-West Road. These things can be done. But you see, yet again, I question what the priority of the state governors are. Now, if you listen to that communique, the governors, of the South-South, the 6 South-South states, we're calling on the federal government to do this, to do that. Agro-entrepreneurship, what really has been done? We've got very, very productive lands in River State. We have some in Bayelsa State. I really don't know what it's like in Cross River, but I've been to Akwa Ibom, and yes, we do have some fertile grounds in Akwa Ibom State as well. What have we done to be able to harness our agricultural capabilities or our agro capabilities as a state? Now, they made mention of the fact that the South states generate a lot of power, and yet the power is not being, what's it called now? The discos don't distribute enough power in their sharing formula to, the South states. What happened to building our own power? Because power has been removed from the exclusive now to the concurrent list. So even the state government can do something about power. So if building a transmission line can be very, what's it called now? Capital intensive. What happened to joining forces? Because after all, they talked about economic interconnectivity. And most of these states were together at some point. Old Bendel State, Edo Delta, Old River State, Bayelsa Rivers. I mean, Akwa Ibom and Cross River have similar traditions and even language. Similar, I said. So it's not even as difficult having all of these states connect together. Going back to security, I do believe with how the borders are like in the South-South geopolitical zone, it is even easy for us to have a security outfit where we can tackle a lot of these things that have brought the military into our region. I mean, I once said we could have our own Amotekun. Many years down the line, we're still grappling with insecurity in the South-South region. So, I don't know. Before we call on the federal government, I would like us to look at what the state governors can do in the region. And we're looking at it from a regional perspective now. Because every day we say, let us restructure the country. Let us reduce power from the central and bring it down to the states and even to the bottom, the local government. But really, with the little responsibilities that the governors have, what have they done? What have they done? When we look at the South-South region, what can we beat our chest and say that we are so great at? What can we beat our chest and say, this is where our productivity lies? Where can we beat our chest and say, this is what the South-South region is known for? Let's go to the northern part of the country. You want to look at it from the northeast, you want to look at it from the northwest. Despite the fact that they are being ravaged by massive insecurity, when it comes to agricultural activities, we know how they can interconnect, how they work together to be able to produce what they produce from that region. Sometimes it is even a healthy competition from the region that has boosted the region to that. What do we do in the South region? We play politics from Delta to Edo. I mean, look at what's happening in Edo right now. Politics, something similar to what happened in River State and still happening in River State. And politics. Same with what's it called now? Bayelsa. Delta, maybe, but we're still waiting to see what kind of production or what kind of productivity can come up from Delta State. When you look at Akwa Ibom and Cross River, it looks like they're towing the path of productivity, and we should applaud them for that. But one would think that when we do chase productivity in numbers, when we come together and put all our resources together and our capacity together, there is the tendency that we can even thrive better. What happens to all of them coming together to own 2 refineries? What happened, to owning refineries or building factories or doing something to help elevate the economic situation in the South region? We always call on the federal government, but really, when we look at the state governors, the question then is, what really have they done? What really can they do, to help our situation? So I'm going to go to the phone lines today. I really, because we're always crying marginalization. Oh, we're marginalized in the South. We give oil, we give these, but but really, with the little that we've been given in the region, in the South region. Now, I'm not talking about the NDDC. I'm not talking about, the federal government. I'm looking at the state governors. What have they done in the region? Usually we'll look at this thing from a state point of view, but let's look at it from a regional point of view. What really have they done? What really have they done? And it looks like it is we who should change ourselves as a people through the kind of leadership that we do have in the region. What can a regional collaboration achieve? What can be done if we were able to set up a South electricity company? Now, I'm not even just talking, because Delta, Edo, Akwa Ibom, Cross River, Bayelsa, Rivers, all of these states are blessed with gas reserves. Now, some states have more gas reserves than others, but all of them are they're blessed with gas reserves, right? Why can't we have our own electricity company? Like what's happening in Brass, I believe. Is it Brass or Nembe? Or what's happening in Bunny? Distribute, use our gas, work with the oil companies and say, give us this amount. What happened to buying oil wells together, having shares? If it is too difficult and too capital intensive to get, to buy, what happened to coming together to buying oil shares and developing the region? Are we going to put tribal and ethnic arguments into this? Could that be the reason? I'm wondering. Are we going to say, our leaders are too selfish? Could that be the reason? Or is it that we just believe that the federal government should do everything for us? Now, once again, imagine if we had smooth roads connecting all of the South states, irrespective of whether they are federal government owned roads or not. But what do I know? I'm gonna open the phone lines right now, and I'm gonna get your thoughts on this very issue. 25 minutes can pass the hour of 4. My question is, have the governors done enough for the region before even daring to call on the federal government? Have they done enough? I'm talking about braced, as they like to be called. The governors of the South states, have they done enough for the region? Do you see that massive infrastructure that has been built by the region for you now to say, okay, it's cool to call on the federal government? 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0003, and 0817-923-0007. WhatsApp number 0809-0306416. And I could go on, and But anyways, let's leave all of that and let's go to the phone lines. Mira from Okrika, welcome on the show.
Thank you, KDB.
Yeah, Mira, welcome.
KDB, I don't know you're aware that I think it's Imo State that has the highest amount of gas in the world.
Okay.
Yeah, a state like that is linked with power supply. But it's not enough to just remove power from the concurrent from the system and taking it to the concurrent place. You don't control the resources that you need to produce that power. Even if you try, you still need approval from federal government. And all those things you keep practicing, politicking, the rest, if they like your place, if you're in their party, so many things. They are just a government is trying. And trust me, KDB, we heard they have 24 hours, 20 hours. Trust me, there are days and they don't even have power supply. They are still struggling. That is to say, federal government is favoring it, no matter how hard it tries. It is so hard when you have food, somebody to give you little portions, for you to eat. You can never be satisfied. In fact, even when you eat, you'll be so angry that you're eating, but yet you're shaking. You're getting the food is working in your body. Let me tell you, there is nothing much the states can do. This kind of system, this kind of system you operate, there is nothing more the state can do.
But I disagree. I disagree with you, Muriel. Are you saying the state cannot buy shares? I'm wondering. So, let's say there is a power company that has gotten permission. Are you saying the state government cannot buy good amounts of shares just for the people living in their states? Are you saying that they cannot liaise with the federal government and say, okay, we want to buy XYZ, and be like every other? They could even set up a company, as a matter of fact. Are you saying that's not possible?
Clara, if I hear you correctly, are you trying to say the state governments are trying to set up their own refineries or?
Of course they can. Of course they can.
They can. I know they can. What I said, you can make efforts, but sometimes you need approval. They can't just do it on their own, Canada.
Do you know Enugu? I think it's Enugu State. Enugu State now has a state electricity company that will power parts of Enugu State. I don't know if you know about that.
Yeah, I heard about it, but Canada, everything still boils down to the federal. That's what I'm saying. If the federal government likes your place, sometimes they will just hold on to your matter. They will try to fight it and they will frustrate you, trading the way you get approval. Sometimes you want good investors coming to your company. They want to invest.
All right, Meryl, I've got to go. I get.
The federal government is controlling indirectly, and they will still need to pass through the federal government.
All right, then.
The state government has the right when it comes to an oil sector and the power sector. They do it on their own. Give approval. They just need to pass. And because of the kind of politics we play, it frustrates many states.
All right, then. That's politics. All right. Thank you very much, Bright from Rumigbo. Welcome. What is on your mind? I'd like to hear from you, Bright. It's good to have you.
Canada, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon to you.
Yes, your question is if we think the state governments have done enough before calling on federal government.
Yeah.
They have not done enough, and they are not doing enough. They do not even have plans, reasonable plans, suitable plans to do enough. First of all, the communique that emanated from that meeting yesterday, I am on one of Doyedi's followers on Facebook. It was on his page. I read it first. And I dropped a comment that is generating a lot of reaction there.
All right.
And I'm still getting notification. I told them there was no tangible discussion on workable plans. Because when you talk about the commission, they talk about regional integration. From what they gave us from that communique, there is nothing that shows plan for integration. Some couple of weeks ago, maybe 6 or 7 weeks ago, that meeting held first in Edo State. I expected that what would have come out yesterday would have been a follow-up of what was decided from the previous meeting. But from what we read from that communique, it was just like where these brother activists had a press conference and then issued threats and commendations and whatever. Didn't show people who are at the helm of affairs of administrative federating units. You talk about integration of a region, economic integration, development, and what have you. What are the plans? What have you proposed?
Right. Let's take this a little bit a notch higher now. What do you think can be achieved, with the governors of the 6 South states coming together to say, we want to have some interconnectivity? What do you think they can achieve? What are some of the things you think they can get done for the sake of their region?
What they can get done, the relationship between the South states as regards their major problem, their common problem, environmental degradation, caused by oil exploration. So, and then that will also yield economic development and opportunity. As it stands today, we are from River State. What are the efforts of River State and Bayelsa State government in terms of developing and connecting Bayelsa and River State? Do you have anyone? What are Bayelsa State and River State government doing to go back to history, dating that these two states used to be one? Having been delineated to different states, that they are still working together to still harness their potentials. In terms of transportation, how do you go to Bayelsa today? Through the East-West Road that is bad. But with a good plan and effort between the two state governments, whether the East-West Road is good or not, we can still go to Bayelsa through our waterways.
All right.
And that could have a point. That could come from good plans, developmental plans, connectivity plans from the two states. What are we doing with our NDDC that is getting a revenue from federal government?
All right, I would have to stop. I would have to stop here, Bright. I've got Felix, and Felix is waiting. I've got to stop you, but thank you very much, Bright. Felix from Port Harcourt. Oh my, sorry, Felix has decided to drop the call, or maybe network. I don't know. But let's wait for calls to come in while I'm reading this message. This one says, Sukari from Awalga. The region is large. The state with the LGAs can do more. During the Amechi era, there was a working commission called the Brace Commission, meant for peer review. What has become of the commission? The NDDC is there, but the governors are the ones helping to kill the NDDC. For once, I've envied the military era. And this one says, good afternoon, Canada. The South governors should go beyond meeting and coming out with communiques, which they don't move to be implemented, and come up with a collective implementable program that will create jobs and better the lives of the South people, especially with the 13% derivation funds. Okay. You see, one of the problems in the region is that all the states that fall in this region are very, very political. Also, governors like to abandon projects that they don't care about the future, because government is a continuum, only thinking of their political career. These politicians think that politics is their talent. Oyenuchia Stephen. I've got Chucks from Rumokoro. Chucks, welcome. What is on your mind? I'd like to hear from you.
Hello?
Yeah, welcome.
Okay, thank you very much. To your question, if the governors have done enough,
in the South
region,
region,
answer is a capital no. They've not done enough at all. And sometimes it seems that they like ideas. So I think there should be a means we can also give them ideas. But that being said, that doesn't mean that the federal government also needs to do their own role or cannot be called to do what they need to do. There are a lot of things that the governments are not doing. The East-West Road, for example, a lot of funds have been allocated for that road. I remember when Akpabio was minister, they collaborated with the NDDC and they took a lot of money from NDDC to put on that road. yet we are not seeing results. I think they should also be probing on those issues. Why are we not seeing results? So the federal government is generating a lot of power. It will cost more to transmit power from here to Abuja than to transmit around here that is generated. Why are they not giving power to this area that is generated? They are generating power from here. You spend a lot of money to transmit. It's just like transporting goods. That is just the simple explanation.
So they
are in control of the gas.
So you're saying that, I mean, the federal government would have to still do more. And I do agree with you, but we're looking at it from a regional angle right now. I do feel some of the things that they have called the federal government on are things that they could also do and maybe take some deductions from the federal government or something like that.
Yes, of course. They can do some of all those things, or even most of all those things. Like I said initially, that you are correct, that they have not done enough. Definitely, like an example you gave, Amechi did most part of the road towards Imo State, and the federal government refunded. But at the point, the federal government said they will no longer refund. If you do it, you're on your own. And like I said, it seems the governors don't have enough ideas, because there are a lot of things that can be done within ourselves here in the Niger Delta region. We can own companies, like you said, own oil companies, and then make money from it. Also, when we talk about our resources, it is very painful that the federal government is in charge of all crude oil and gas. But when gold has been discovered in the north and has been explored for a long time, it was recently when voices were raised that the CBN decided to buy the gold from the state government. So how can you be buying their gold from them and our crude oil is free? How is that fair?
All right. But you know,
it's not fair.
Chucks, I do not have a counter argument to that, but I want to say that we should first of all think about the one that we've gotten, the resources that we've gotten, and see how we can manage those resources before we can begin to talk about what is fair and what is not fair. Because I do think that with the allocation we have gotten over the years, we should have been able to have its south-south geopolitical zone that is so economically viable that can take and change the lives of the people in the region. And I mean, we keep saying, we don't have access to control of the oil. What if we form a company? What if we form an industry, a factory that can be able to tap into that sector for the sake of our people? 92.3 Nigerian. So what's your name?
Okay, it's Chuk. Sorry, the call dropped.
All right. Okay, summarize so we can go to other callers now quickly.
Okay, yes. Like I said, I agree with all you said. We can do more. And I think there should be avenue for us to also advise this, our governors. The people that are choosing to be in their cabinet, how competent are they? Is it just politicians? Are they technocrats? Same in all levels of government. Do we pick people that can give the governor ideas on what to do? Is there a way we can also suggest to these people that this thing is viable for our region?
All right.
I think that is the summary of my point. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Now let's dissect these things individually. Bayelsa State was listed amongst the states with poor revenue. Bayelsa State, I mean, with all the allocation it gets. Delta State also not doing very well when it talks when you talk about revenue generated. You're looking at just Rivers, Akwa Ibom, Cross River, and maybe Edo State. But even in these states, these 4 other states, what can we, or even going to all of the 6 states, what can we really pinpoint? In Bayelsa, for instance, what can we pinpoint and say, this is where productivity lies? In Akwa Ibom, okay, they've got the aircraft, is it the airline? Same with, in Cross River. In Cross River, I think they have the rice mill farm. But apart from those things, what can we really say? And I wonder if those things are as productive as they used to be. But what can we really say are the productivity lines in these states? Let's come to our river states. 23 local governments. When we look at this state, where do we generate money? I mean, apart from taxes, where can we really say that we are generating funds from? I don't know. I wish you could answer me on that one, because I don't know. I really don't know. Well, where are we generating funds from? I'm looking. What industry? What industry are we really looking at and say, oh, that's where our productivity line is? Should we go to Transamadi? What is the states? How many? Okay, let's even retrace our steps. When we look at the 6 oil-blessed states, apart from the oil companies, how many companies can we say, and when I say company, I'm talking about multi-billion or multi-million companies, can we say have invested in the region, the South region? And it's time we need to begin to ask questions. It's time we begin to understand that it's not all about politics. It's not all about, this person is my person, that person is my person, or that person is politically relevant, the other person is not political, or, the person is a political newbie. It's not all about that. Even the local government chairmen do have roles to play in the development of River State. So these are some of the issues I'm wondering. I mean, I do remember under Wike's time, I think there was the argument as to whether the state government bought shares in one of the oil wells or not. These are the kind of conversations that we should be having in the region. I should give you to Edo State. Edo State has got 2 modular refineries waiting to kickstart. I'm wondering why they've not been licensed yet. But yet again, these are the kind of conversations we should be having in the region. So my question is simple, and I'm going to go back to the 4 lines now. Have we been able, I rephrase, have the governors been able to give quality leadership and governorship, or governance, I beg your pardon, in the South region before calling on the federal government? Now, I agree with Chalks that the federal government has got a lot to do as it relates to, a lot of infrastructures, a lot of developmental projects. But what have we done for ourselves as a government? And that's what I want to know. That's what I want to hear from you. And I do want to go to the 4 lines now. 0817 923 0002 and 0817 923 0003. There is the call number 0817 923 0007. For WhatsApp 0809 0306 416. I've got Chinda from Old GRA. Chinda, welcome. What is on your mind that I'd like to hear from you?
Yeah, good afternoon, Canada.
Yeah, good afternoon to you.
What I found out since 1999 is that our leaders have a very small mind. They are not politicians. We have many things to do in this state and in our region. Our territorial water, in other countries, they have state territorial water, federal territorial water, where we can extract our own oil. And in the federal land, the federal territorial water, we can still have share there. But the way it's here, I don't understand. There are many things to do. We can own oil company like it. We can own so many things. It's just to implement it. What is the problem we are having? I've been wondering, as you are saying, you have this kind of mind. But the leaders, they don't have it. They think that market women taxes and food taxes is something. It's nothing. They leave that for the local government to do. Building streets and all these things. We need hotels. I mean, star hotels.
Yeah.
5-star hotels.
Yeah.
We need things that can bring people into the state. What do they call it? That Amadi.
Transamadi, yeah.
If the people that own them don't want them, they put it there. People will buy them. Then let's keep on working. This is for God, for God.
All right.
I don't know why we took so low like this. Wike came here, I thought he was to do something. All these roads he's doing, even Nasarawa, all those states, they have 4 stairs of flyovers, not straight up the path. UGC, so they are building staircase.
Okay.
Don't like it. I just want to.
All right. Thank you very much, Chinda. Chinda, thank you very much. I've got Ernest from Borukri. Ernest, welcome. What is on your mind?
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Yeah, greetings to you. Welcome.
My brother, Nigerian and South politicians is unpredictable.
Okay.
Because I can't believe that we are in the midst, inside the water or the soup entering our eyes. Even when the federal government cannot help us, can we help ourselves? Sometimes I sit down, I begin to reason what is happening to our people that they don't care. My brother, can a governor from the south and call one person, one among them, call others? So let us forget about the political party where we come from. Let us drop politics and work for our people and get a name. My father used to tell me that a good name is better than whatsoever. Mr. Canada, I value my name. Ernest, so is my name. And honestly, I value my name than my pocket. Can one of them call each other? Let us sit down and bring out ideas to help the South people. My brother, we are suffering in the midst of plenty. Go to Mobile. How many of Akwa Ibom are working? They talk of the South. Go to refinery. Go to petrochemical. To all these places. At least, each governor bring that company. Like, what will it take a River State government to revamp this company, Michelin? What will it take them? And how many people will work here? How much will it take a South like a Akwa State? That's market. To build up a refinery, motor refinery, how much will it take? And employ your people. Forget about this 2,000. When it's this election time, you come and give them, because not me. I can't sell my vote for even 100,000. I can't sell my vote.
All right. Ernest, thank you very much. I've got
pity, my brother.
All right, it's a pity you said. Right. Clinton from Bori, welcome. What is on your mind? I'd like to hear from you.
Salada. Just like the former president said, that's Olusegun Obasanjo, that most of our leaders do not have anything to offer. They are bereft of ideas to lead, to govern. And it's the truth. I'm not saying it's a sense, but that statement is actually fact. If you go to this South region, our states are blessed with enormous resources. But like you ask, what can we show for what we have? Nothing. Unemployment is very predominant in the South region.
Yeah, sure.
It's about youth restiveness. Why do we have youth restiveness? It is because the youth don't have jobs to do. This state, like here in River State, we have large hectares of land. Come to the Ogoni, we have land, arable land. So we should be known for farming. Why can't the state government prioritize? Let's say we are known to be agriculturists, we do farming, we are fishermen. Can't we have companies that can come and use these agricultural products and make other things? That will bring to the economy, add to the economy of River State. That will give jobs to River Youth. But these things are not done. They don't even think about all these things. How many persons is a civil servant in River State? So I think we need to go back to the round table and think for the productivity of the state, of our states. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Clinton. Thank you for your time. This message says, good afternoon. of his former self, while leaders of the state are fighting for political structure. It's a shame. DK from Port Harcourt. And then this one says, good afternoon. I've sat down and asked once, if crude oil dries up now, what will be the fate of this country? I have a lot of things, but I've got Lawson from Unicua. Lawson, welcome. What is on? It's been a while, Lawson. It's good to hear from you.
The Niger Delta governors, you forget that the type of politics they play is self-interest. They play politics of self-interest. So you can't have any. You look around now. There's no economy anywhere across the Niger Delta state. There's no economy. Because that's what they do. Look at even the food that Rivers people eat comes from the north. And some of them, they want to argue, but the food, ordinary food that Rivers people eat comes from the north. With all the arable land that we have in Rivers State. And you tell me that government is serious? No, look at the communities. Move away from the capital, the Niger Delta, move away from their capital. Look at all the communities. Even water to drink is not there.
All right.
Clean water to drink
Lawson,
is not there.
Lawson,
the terrain is difficult.
Lawson, let me.
So therefore, you struggle to even to get to most of those their communities.
Lawson, let me take you on. Lawson, let me take you on, please. You said self-interest, right? Don't you think it's in the interest
of self-interest?
Don't you think it's in the interest of the politicians to build these infrastructures, even if it's collectively, even if you say individually, but isn't it in their interest to build so that people can remember them as, oh, nah, Lawson built this thing? I don't know. Is it not in their interest? Think about it from that angle as well.
Look, it is not in their interest. They tell you the Niger Delta is the hub of the oil industry. Why is it that they have not been able to come together? So even take advantage of the oil and gas and all that is there, even refinery, even the CNG we are talking about, it is going to use natural gas. Where is natural gas? In abundance in the Niger Delta. Are they part of those businessmen? Are they part of those that are on the May 29th, the CNG energy will be launched by the president? Are we part of it? Look at the states that are part of it. So that is the problem. They don't care about their name. They don't care about. All they care about is primitive acquisition of wealth.
Right.
Analyze it. Underline it. Sorry. That is what they are interested in.
Right.
That is why you cannot see any genuine development across the Niger Delta. That is just when they say they want to come into power, governance is how to acquire wealth. Look at some of them, especially your state, Rivers State. The governors are flamboyant. Look at their wealth. Some of them, enormous wealth that ordinarily there is no way they can get that kind of wealth. But look at the wealth they hold. From where? From the people.
All right.
So for me, until we begin to get those, and it's so funny, even those that are talking, by the time they get into office, they will do the same thing. Nothing will change.
All right.
They will just go this other way and then do the same thing. What is stopping Rivers State government from owning the refinery?
Okay.
Even if it is modular, 1, 2, 3, what is stopping them?
All right, I've got to go.
Rivers State government? Look at, you are talking about race earlier. Look at Lagos. Look at the kind of, some Rivers people are busy criticizing federal government for having a narrow gauge area. What about Rivers State? Look at Lagos.
Okay, I've got to go.
In Lagos.
I've got to go.
What is the difference between Rivers State and Lagos?
Interesting.
So much, you people talk about so much money, and then at the end of the day, nothing is on the ground. Nothing is on ground.
All right,
so
Lawson, thank you.
It's really unfortunate that we have enormous wealth and we cannot use it to develop our land.
Okay.
It's really unfortunate too.
Okay.
I don't know, maybe some kind of no.
Lawson, thank you very much. I've got to go. I've got Christian from Bonny. Lawson says it's unfortunate, but let's listen to Christian.
Yeah, good evening, my brother.
Welcome.
Yes, let me use Bonny as an example.
Okay, all right, please do.
They've been lifting gas for the past over 23 years. But if you come to Bonny, you sorry for the island.
How do you mean?
Houses and battered. No decent road. who would you blame for this? Who would you blame for this? The truth is that when the federal government has a place where they have resources and the resources matters to them, they do everything to make sure they are in control. They suppress you. That is what they do. That is the problem.
So I
governor that comes from Rivers State,
yeah.
Look at how the aim ball.
So are you there, Christian? Are you saying
the time of death spiff? And look at what is the structure on ground from death spiff period. From that moment till now. The problem is that, look, it has gotten to a point where every state should be able to control whatever you have, dictate what you need, what you want, and you find that there will be development. As long as this federal government is so powerful, it will continue to complain till tomorrow. I think they've laid pipe, carrying gas and crude, and giving communities, they privatize everything. That is it. They don't.
All right, Christian, I've got to go.
People, look, yes, they would have arrested some of them, but because they are the candidates and doing the interest of the federal government in that NDDC, it will continue to be like that.
All right, then. All right, thank you very much, Christian. Thank you very much, Christian. A lot of people have got complaints and rants, concerning this topic, but Braves are not doing anything. Can you imagine? No seaports. We're supposed to travel to Lagos by sea, no working seaport in the south. I don't think I'll blame them for that. Maybe they could have liaised with the federal government, as states. They could have come together collectively to fight for that, even if it's just one seaport in the region. But I don't think it's their fault. That's under the exclusive list, right? But you said that, but only Lagos have two. Even ordinary fishing company or crayfish company, we don't have. North takes advantage of the landmass, but our sea are wasting because of visionless leaders. Mr. Okay with that one. And I've got this one. This one says, good evening, Canada. Nigeria's economic hardship can be alleviated by the state's intervention by diversifying the economy, investing in infrastructure and education, and promoting entrepreneurship. The state can create an environment for growth. Social safety nets and human capital development will protect the vulnerable and enhance productivity. A stable investment climate addressing inflation and supporting agriculture will stimulate economic activity. By taking these steps, the state can reduce economic hardship and build a brighter future for Nigerians. Divine favor from Rumi Bekwe. This one says, greetings. Should I read this now, Clement? But he says, no insult. I have said it before, the woman at Rumokoro Market has more business ideas to develop South than your current governments. All right. This one says, Bayelsa State and its infrastructural deficit upon our 13% oil derivative fund is quite appalling. The high level of impoverishment and infrastructural deficit isn't only appalling, but a reflection of the mediocre of successive leadership failure in the state till date. It is quite pathetic and embarrassing that an oil-rich Bayelsa, in terms of its 13% oil revenue derivation fund, compared to other states like Rivers and Akwa Ibom, is the least underdeveloped and impoverished amongst the South states. Regrettably, governance in Bayelsa State from inception of its creation 27 years ago has been putrefied, stagnated, and prosaically recycled by same uninspiring leadership traits till date. Aria Bide, Port Harcourt. I've got to step on the brakes. My time is up. Far gone as well.